Have you ever heard about Tryber and wondered if you can actually get paid to test apps and websites and even earn by doing ethical hacking there? Because that's exactly what the platform claims. But how does it really work? How much can you earn? And is it actually worth signing up for? My name is Mikael and I have tested hundreds of different ways to make money online, and in this video I will give you a full guide to Tryber. It is a crowd testing platform where companies pay real people to test their websites, apps and software. You can get paid to, for example, find bugs, give UX feedback, or even do ethical hacking campaigns if you have more technical skills. In this video I will show you exactly how it works, how much you can realistically expect to earn, and also some important pros and cons you need to know before you decide if this is something worth joining. So let's start by going over who can join. And on Tryber's own website, you can scroll down and you can see that they say they have more than 270,000 active Trybers. That means users in more than 150 countries. So you can join from more or less all countries. But that does of course not mean that there necessarily be campaigns available in all countries. But you can join basically from all countries. It offers different ways to earn. You can see, for example, here, sometimes they have service also. It's not a specific service site. So I would say if you prefer just taking paid service, this is definitely not the place you find the most. Then I have plenty of videos here about the best service sites. I'll leave a link also in the top corner to a video I have about my currently top 10 recommended service sites. But they do have that once in a while, not a lot in my experience. But also then they have these bug campaigns. So that means that you do functional testing of, for example, apps, software. I'll show you inside in just a bit about how to do that and all that, but this is there where you can then get paid when you find something that is wrong, so the companies can actually improve it before they, for example, launch it. And then sometimes they also have these ethical hacking campaigns. Then of course that requires you to have more technical skills, but if you do, then it can also sometimes be a way to earn potentially some great rewards. We'll talk about the earning potential a little bit later. But let me now log in and then I'll show you a little bit more about the best way to get started and how to find tasks here, how you can get paid, and all the other info you need to know. So the first thing you should do when you join Tryber is to go to your profile here and make sure you fill that out, and also update it if anything changes, because this is what will part of what will decide which campaigns you potentially can apply for. Also you can add devices, so if you have a computer then make sure to add that. If you have a phone or several devices or several phones or a tablet or whatever, add all the devices you can there, because again also play a part when it comes to which campaigns you potentially can qualify for. Then be aware that there are also some courses, because if you just come in here, join from scratch and try to apply for the campaigns, it can be very hard to qualify. These different courses here, you can see they also are in different languages, but they will give you experience points. It will teach you more about the different types of work you can do here. So it can also be a way for you to find out whether this is actually for you or not. But this will also give you these experience points, and that can help you qualify for campaigns. You do need to be aware that you will not get paid for these. These courses will just help you prepare for qualifying for actually paid work. So you need to be willing to go in here, go through this training and courses you can here, and then after that you have a better chance of getting access to the paid campaign. There can also sometimes be some weekly challenges, different things like that, so you can participate in all this. This is all a part of building your skills and also building your experience in here, or your experience points, so you get a better chance of qualifying for the high paying campaigns. And then the campaigns you can see on the dashboard, you can scroll down, you can click them, and you can see all about them, and then you can apply over here if they are still open there, or if you potentially qualify for them. And in this case here, you can also see when you click to apply exactly what you can earn. So I have even seen examples of campaigns where you can earn up to $3,500, but of course that doesn't mean that it's guaranteed. For some of those campaigns it all depends how many bugs you, for example, find. But you can go through, you can read all about what is required. In this case here, for example, you see 20 euros with minimum 3 bucks approved for participation, all these different things. So some pay well, some doesn't pay that well, but if you have the skills for something like this, you can see it still can be a nice way to earn some extra money, even though this is not one of the highest paying ones I have seen. And if you do see a new test, it's a good idea to apply within 24 hours, because attractive campaigns, they do disappear quite quickly. So it's a good idea to log in regularly if you decide to do this, and then apply as soon as you can. But in addition to just applying and taking the courses, filling out your profile, there are some other things that will affect how many tests you can get. So let's dive a little bit deeper into that also. So Tryber also has different levels, and this is like activity levels. You can see basic, bronze, silver, gold, platinum, and all this. This is a part of what will decide which campaigns you can participate in. It happens on a monthly base, and you can see the different levels there, like the different points to maintain it or to reach a new level. And that means like once you reach the highest level, that is permanent. So just keep that in mind. Again, the more active you are, the more you participate, the higher levels, the more you potentially can also earn. So it does require some time and effort to get to the higher paying options. But one thing I actually found a little bit interesting when I was clicking around inside the FAQ section also is that some of the links here actually didn't work. I found that a little bit funny for a website that is paying others to find bugs. But anyways, that's just a little side note. For me, that was a little bit weird. If you dig deeper, you will find, for example, the exact information about the levels and all these things. Just be aware that I believe that it was on this page here. If I, for example, click here to learn more about the experience points, then it actually gives you an error page. So that's just a little bit weird. But anyways, you can still find it. You can just go to the FAQ section, you can search it there, then you can find the pages. Just wanted to mention this. It doesn't really do a lot, it doesn't ruin a lot. I just want to mention, so if you do happen to run into something like this, these links that links from one section to another, then you just go to the FAQ section, search for it there. They do have quite a lot of information there. But let's now talk about payment also. So Tryber has a whole section also describing the payout option and the wallet section here. And this is a system that's quite complicated compared to many others that I have tested. And this is one of the downsides in my opinion about it. I honestly do not think that the FAQ section does a very good job at explaining how it works. I will try to do my best based on what I've been able to find out, so I can try to make it easier for you to find out exactly how it works. So first of all, you can get paid via bank transfer or PayPal. That's quite straightforward, and the threshold is only €3, so it's a very low payout threshold. I definitely like that. Just keep in mind that you can only request one payment at the time, and that normally it can take about 20 business days for you to get paid once you have requested a payment. So, and in that period of time, you can actually not then request for another payment. So just keep that in mind. Also, a quite slow, long payment processing time, in my opinion. And also then, what is even more important is that the amount you see for some of the tasks is not necessarily what you will get. Tryber is run by an Italian company, and because of EU tax rules, payments can be treated differently depending on where you as a tester live. And this is what makes it quite complicated. So they have tried to explain it here, also different cases, different situations. For example, if you earn less than 5,000 euros, if you earn more than 5,000 euros, things like this. But overall, how I can sum it up to try to make it as easy as possible to understand from based on what I have been able to understand and the research I have done. So the first group is EU testers, meaning people who live in EU without a VAT number. And that is the majority of people joining a user testing site like this in my experience. And a VAT number basically means if you are registered as a business, then you will have a VAT number in Europe there. If you are not just a regular person that doesn't have your own business registered, then you do not have it. And then this will apply to you, and then Tryber might actually deduct VAT or taxes before paying you. And that means that what you then will receive can be lower than the amount shown in the test invitation. The second group is then EU testers with a VAT number, meaning for example freelancers or businesses. Then you need to provide a valid VAT, and if you are registered as that in EU, you can then provide a valid VAT ID, and then usually you will receive the full amount because then you are responsible yourself for handling VAT or taxes. And this is usually similar to how regular freelance platforms, for example, handle invoicing. And then you have the third group that is non-EU testers. So if you don't live in EU and are a member and participate in these campaigns, then usually VAT rules do not apply here, and the payments are typically processed without these VAT deductions. But of course, depending on the country you live in, then there might still be some local taxes that apply. That's something you need to be aware of. If you're in a country, of course you need to know the tax rules there. But this is a little bit complicated compared to many others, because most other platforms that I have tested, you say this is what you earn. Sometimes you need to fill out a form depending on the country you live in, but then they just send the money to you, and then it's up to you to if you need to pay taxes, you need to figure that out, all those things. But here with Tryber, because of being an Italian company, the rules are a little bit different. And I hope I got all this right. This is based on what I was able to find out. The main thing is here, definitely look into it, be aware of these different rules so you do it with the right expectations. Overall, I would say Tryber can be an interesting platform if you have the skills to do this bug finding or ethical hacking, and if you're patient enough to put in some time and effort to build up your experience in there to qualify for the higher paying tasks, then it definitely can be a nice side hustle. Just keep the payout rules in mind, so you look into the exact tax rules that apply to you, so you do it with the right expectations. And if you like user testing in general, then I also do have a full list on my website of the best user tests. I'll leave a link to that below. There are many great options. I also do have a written Tryber review there that you can find there on that list there if you want to know even more about it, or in writing there. A lot of great alternatives. Some of them are about bug finding, some of them are where you just test and give feedback, some of them have a very basic, simple, straightforward payout system. So it all depends on your preferences and the type of test you like participating in. So I'll leave a link to that below so you can find plenty of different similar alternatives for this here. I also do have a video where I go over the best user testing platforms. I'll also leave a link in the top corner and here on the screen here, so you can watch that next if you want to. And finally, if you just want to find some extra side hustles, I do have a list on my website with more than 20 different free side hustles you can do. I'll leave a link so you can also check that out. And if this video helped you, I would really appreciate if you could give it a like, and also don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the notification bell so you won't miss out next time I release a video with tips and tricks about different ways to make money online.